Hi guys. Okay, it is Saturday night and the time is 1949 and it is August the 2nd, 2025 in Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia. I promised Gabriel I'd make another video, a few days overdue. But first I want to mention last night's upload. That was me, as we've all been admonished to do, is to witness what we are witnessing, but not to get emotionally involved in what is happening around the earth. And that's really difficult to do. I'm sure you're all aware of that. But to live in the love, joy and laughter with those within our family and circle of friends. And the latest admonition, going inward and just hanging on to the Father as we overcome first the internal battles that we may all be experiencing, as the external is over before the internal. I know a lot of you can relate to that. So much happening around the globe, especially in the northern hemispheres. The weather systems, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, mud floods throughout Russia, flooding everywhere. New York City, everywhere in the north is copping it, so to speak. Now, the avatar that I used for last night's upload, the Heavenly Horses, and yes, that was me playing my grand piano, the piano that Yah bought for me in 2012, a few months after we moved into this house. And everything is a story, as you know, with Yah and myself. So I was looking for a grand piano. I think it was Gumtree that I found it on, and lo and behold, there's one for sale down in, I'm pretty sure it was Cooroy or the EU Mundi area, down on Sunshine Coast hinterland. A Scottish couple, and not the first Scottish couple to be packing up their beautiful home that was used as an Airbnb. They were going back to Scotland to join their family, awaiting the rapture. So, what a setup. What an absolute setup. So, we're having conversation, husband and wife, this beautiful home, just glorious. And they're going to sell everything up, scurry back to Scotland to be with family and await for the rapture. Now, for those of you who are not really familiar with what the rapture is all about, it's a false doctrine that started in about 1871, and along with the lies of the Schofield Bible, began to influence people from that period on. Schofield himself being one of the Zoo tribe, you know, those who are liars. And if their lips are moving, they are lying. His notes in the columns of the Schofield Bible introduced what is the rapture and the lie about the chosen people of God, their tribe rhyming with Zoo, the Zoo tribe. You know who I mean. All right, okay. So here we are sitting in the living room with this Scottish couple, and it was mostly the wife, and she was, and I knew exactly where she was coming from. She would get up early in the morning to spend an hour or so praying and seeking the Lord for the day, and so here is the Lord sitting in her living room, wanting to buy their grand piano. So I couldn't help it, could I? Would you expect me to? Would you expect me to sit there in silence and not launch? So I did. I launched on this poor woman. Well, my goodness gracious me. She just like this. She had to leave the room. She came back. We paid the deposit. Couldn't get us out of there fast enough. The husband was more open. He wanted to know more. But basically, Yah sitting there, the Christ himself. Here she is. Her prayer's answered. You want to be close to the Lord? Well, he's sitting in your living room wanting to buy your piano as a gift for his wife. Oh, man, oh, man. Anyway, we paid $800, which, as you know, is a meagre in the Greek concordance. $800 to have it removed and delivered here. 166 kilometres, 'tis all. And I had a conversation with a lovely lady today that I was talking to for the first time. And I told her that I'd been so nomadic throughout my life, and even with Yah, our movements, Papua New Guinea and then Fiji, and being deported from Fiji, and then up in our 11-week stint house setting out at Toowoomba, and then finally settling for a few months in Hervey Bay, and until we found this house. And this is my 14th year in this house. But I was saying to this lovely lady today that once we had the piano in place, I felt this total, oh my God, this is commitment. This is a massive piece of furniture that I can't just pack away and move on. We have to take it with us. So it was total commitment. And here I am in my 14th year, having not moved. Didn't stop me from spying out the land on realestate.com, looking at everything that's for rent and for sale all over the place. Anyway, it's just part of the story. So it was me sitting down at the piano, 2 days ago, when I just started playing the chords. And of course the piano itself, it wasn't tuned when it was moved here. It desperately needs a tune, and it hasn't been, but a little reverb through the Audacity program, and copying, pasting, etc. And that's how I got the 6.5 minutes of the music to accompany the heavenly horses. But I had to use the avatar of Yah's Pegasus drawing. Again, I was telling this lady today about this drawing. Many of you may already, you already recognize it. Oh, why does that happen? Here we go. Right, there we go. Pegasus. Now, Yah himself drew this. Now, he began the revelation on the 17th of June, the Jesus birthday, 1990, when he was living on Vancouver Island, having been totally disabled through the two workplace accidents that injured his back, and the story there that saw him, retired from working physically as the builder and electrician that he has been throughout his life. So through the leasing of an IBM 286 machine computer and minimal, I think it was 512 RAM as memory, total memory. And Yah drew this Pegasus. The detail in this is stunning. And so he's located the black dots there. They're the stars within Pegasus. Of course, it's all about his mother. The square there, the 4 stars, the corners that create the square, that for about 6 days throughout each year, there are no stars in the window, and he calls it the window of Pegasus. And it was during that time that Daphne was born, the 11th of October in the year 1912, and Daphne, his mother, being the royal woman wearing the crown with the 12 stars, being the tribes of Israel. Well, that was Daphne. Did she know it? Of course she didn't. So she gives birth to the man-child, who is the Christ, and that, of course, is Yah. And most of you are all familiar with his story. That's what it was all about. The revelation that began 35 years ago now, June 17th, 1990. So thinking of a name for what I'd put together with the music I had composed myself, Heavenly Horses, and this had to be the avatar for it. Yah's drawing. And of course his drawings are still over on his Facebook page. Did I leave it open? I was looking at it. No, I didn't leave it open. That's okay. But there's a purpose for this video. Come back so I can... Yeah, anyway, long story short, that was the story of last night's video. And just going back through the wonder of Yah's revelation. Now, apocalypse means revelation and disclosure. And it was, until he left, it was all those years of the revealing, the apocalypse of who the Christ is and was on the earth. And his leaving, of course, is to organize and bring forth his judgment, having been here and judged who in the zoo is responsible for it all. And yeah. And Palestine, whoa. The hearts and minds of now tens of millions of people around the globe, their hearts and minds totally focused on the Holy Lands, the people of Palestine. Who are the saints? They are the blood of the saints. It's the people of Palestine. So we know in the future that there'll be a marvelous restoration, and the people of Palestine will prevail, and in the future they will be reborn into that area to occupy once the cancer of the earth has been cut out and sent to the pit, the abyss. That's what it boils down to. This is what the judgment is all about, the consummation, the end of time. End of time. And why the end of time? Well, it's now. This period of time in history, everybody's been given up to 7 chances throughout all of history, and all evil's back on the earth, but it has to go. And everything that offends Yah has to go. It cannot remain, cannot exist in the kingdom. So, again, Ezekiel's messages, Yah's grace toward us, through Ezekiel's messages and his messenger, Yah's grace to keep us looking forward, focusing on the kingdom, and creating our own worlds within our households that bring us peace, love, laughter, joy. Now, speaking of which, Gabriel and his chicken house, many of you are keeping up over at Gabriel's Facebook page. I think the last count was 80 chickens and the feed to feed them. And his last message last week or whenever it was, is that he's having to make his way there almost daily. Bottom line is that he now needs to focus on getting a motorbike. And he estimates what is needed between 700 and 1,000 euro. And I said, yes, that's a good idea, go for it, because every time he moves around, even going to the village to help with the children and buy supplies for the children, he's paying for the hire of a motorbike or a vehicle or a driver. So if he has his own transport, then that helps out tremendously. And I know that you all you've been keeping up and just donating as you're able to. So here's another goal to set for ourselves. I've continued to use Western Union these last few months. This is what it looks like. To use Western Union, you create an account with them, and it's attached to your bank account or credit, debit card, whatever. And it gets to Gabriel instantly, within minutes. As soon as I send it, the notification is there that it's ready in Uganda for Gabriel to pick up. So that's what I've been doing each time I'm prompted to do so. And let's go over, we'll come back to that. Yes, over at the GoFundMe site that most of you are using. That's awesome. Um, Michael and Ollie, thank you, all of you, for your donations. And of course, Yahweh, we know who you are, or I know who you are. Nobody else knows who you are, but I do, because you want to remain anonymous in honor for Yahweh. So the July 19th message: we are overwhelmed with gratitude to each and every one of you who has donated to support our chicken project from its inception to this milestone of 80 birds. Despite encountering some issues like pecking, we've successfully addressed them and are thrilled to have secured 100 kilograms of maize bran as our main feed. We are confident that this project will be a huge success, and we hope you'll be proud of our results. And we are. I mean, how quickly how quickly did this project get off the ground, thanks to Gabriel and all those who have worked with him, and Daniel, who has made it all happen, and the friends and family and all the chickens there. Yeah. Talking about de-beaking chickens in my younger years, I think I was 18 at the time, might have been younger. Really hot Australian summer, and I took it upon myself to, I think it was Ingham's, it's either Ingham's or Steggles, huge chicken people in Australia. Their farms are close to where I was living, and I thought I would de-beak some chickens. I lasted 3 days. Or did I last 3 days? Perhaps I didn't. Perhaps I only lasted 1 day in the hot Australian sun, so dusty, and then you've got thousands of chickens, and so you're picking them up and then you're bringing them, and it's like a small guillotine where they chop the end of the beak off, and it's to save their own lives, because they will peck each other to death, cannibalize each other, so they've got to cut the beaks so that doesn't happen. But I remember I must have only lasted 1 day, because I got a massive migraine attack from the heat, and I couldn't go back. But I do know what it is all about. Oh, now, not focusing on, but so that you have full comprehension of the situation of what Israel and the USA are doing in Gaza. There's a video that you can watch, an American Marine who's been there, and he's telling the truth. He was, US Green Beret veteran. Tom Aguila tells it the way it is. This is a really good interview with Tucker Carlson, and who was astonished at what he was learning from Tony. And this is now being spread around, mainstream's beginning to pick it up, as he is telling the truth as a first-hand witness, photographer, his own photographs, and his account of what happened to the most beautiful little boy. And this is what we found when we were in Cairo. I still remember Mina. Mina gave me her thongs, a treasure in Cairo. They wear thongs, that's it. And she gave me hers. I wanted to bring Mina home. But she was from a good family, and Mahmoud, if you remember from our trip to the pyramids and the camel ride, and it was Mahmoud, the camel driver of Oscar, one of the camels on our time there. And they invited us to their home, and so we had a lovely chicken meal. Speaking of chickens, oh my gosh, raising the chickens down below, you're looking over and saying hello to the chickens. Well, the chickens that they serve for dinner just hours before, down below, alive and well. All right, okay. Mina. These children are beautiful. And the people of Gaza, the Palestinian people, and remember, Yah has always taught that Palestine are the Holy Lands, and they always will be. Palestine, the Holy Lands. The holy people are the people of Palestine who have been attached to their land for thousands of years. It's now doing the rounds. All of their lies have been exposed. More and more people are, even their own rabbis are coming forward to tell of the lies. There is no DNA connection between those who are occupying Israel today through history. Their DNA comes from Eastern Europe or other areas. These are all of the ones who make a lie, love a lie, and then you've got all the people in the West, they're called Christian Zionists, who love the lie. These are all on the outside of the kingdom, according to the Revelation. All those who make and love a lie. So you've got Christian America, and what Tony Aguilar explains is that this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation that is operated by the good old USA, a pastor, a preacher, who happens to be a friend of the president of the USA. He's a Christian Zionist. His name is Johnny Moore. And Tony Aguilar, as a military man, just tells how this man has no experience, there's no strategy, and what has been set up has become death traps for the people of Palestine. The locations, and there's only 4 of them. There used to be 400 when the UN was operating the kitchens throughout the area, but now there's only 4 of them. They open for approximately 11 minutes every day, as thousands of people have to come down from the north and gather, just waiting for the gates to be opened. And then the IDF shoots. We're shooting above them, or they're shooting at their feet to keep them under control, to control where it is that they're going. As Tony Aguilar sorts out, there's another really simple way that you could manage the movement of the crowds. It's called signs. You could put signs up. You could have a loudhailer with a speaker in Arabic and an interpreter so that people know where it is. But no, the IDF, by the way, Tony makes it really clear that the GHF is supposed to be an American factory with all the money coming from America, and he says, quite frankly, he doesn't know where it's gone. That they are the client to the IDF. And as we know, the IDF, that's the Israeli Defense Forces, their souls are not made in the image of God. And neither are most of the occupants of what is called Israel today. Remember the scriptures. The ones who call themselves, and I just rhymes with zoo, you know what I mean, but are the synagogue of Satan, having no compassion for other human beings or animals. They regard themselves through lies as the chosen people, supported by Christian Zionists. This is the great delusion and deception that has covered the earth in these days. And Yah has been revealing it for the 30-odd years until he left, 3rd of October 2022. I'll put the link to the interview with Tucker Carlson. It is an eye-opener, so that you can truly comprehend the information you are not being told. I know what it's like living in America. I was there for 5 years, living inside of Washington State. It was bad enough beginning within Canada, coming from Australia. This is 1990, left Australia, landed inside Canada. We were there for 12 months. In Australia, we had news reporting from all over the world. Island nation, a big one. However, we knew what was happening in every corner of the world. Arriving in Canada, it was less informed, however, much more informed than living in the USA. 5 years in the USA, inside of Washington State. And I quickly realized that everybody, like mushrooms, are kept in the dark and fed on bullshit. Your media has never told you the truth, and any media that comes through, if it hasn't occurred in the own backyard of the city, town, or state that you're living in, you haven't a clue. However, you've become more informed with the runaway advent of the internet, which was created by DARPA for military uses only, and they didn't find it particularly useful apparently, so they let it out to the public. Well, all right. Hundreds of millions of people witnessing this genocide. You know, the Holocaust, another great big lie. There was a Holocaust during World War II, all right. It was called the fire bombing of Dresden, February the 13th, 1945, when the Allies, or as they've been, the All Lies, that's the good old UK along with the good old USA, firebombed the civilian city of Dresden. Now, as you listen to Tony Aguilar, who's talking about the war crimes that the IDF, Israel, is committing all the time, every day, along with the USA going along with it, the war crimes of World War II and the lies that have been told about who were the goodies and who were the baddies throughout that debacle, who started it? Benjamin Friedman told the world, it was 1963 or 1961, at a hotel in Beverly Hills, where he publicly broke down World War I and World War II, how it was that the good old USA was dragged into it. Lies by the liars, whose God is the father of lies. And what is running the USA today in POTUS, he is the father of lies. So, I'll put the link in the description box. Watch it for your own knowledge and understanding. And know that these beautiful people will prevail. And as you listen to the story of the Amir, was his name, as Tony tells it, I cried. I cried just thinking about Mina. I cried when I found out that one of the beautiful women, all bent over with rickets, wearing their black hijabs and all the rest of it, getting no sunlight in a land where it's, sunlight 90% of the time, a lack of vitamin D, wearing black blocks it out. Their bodies underneath these gowns, bent over, rickets, unbelievable. Yeah. Okay. And there will be a second link that I put in the description box. I know some of you ladies are already connected over with Bisan on Instagram who is still alive. I sent her a message probably 18 months ago about Yahweh. And his name, I have no idea if she read it, but I've asked Yah to keep her alive. Has been doing an incredible job reporting from the ground. There are people that are actually saying that it's all part of a wag the dog. No, it's not. It's very real. And listening to real people who are there, boots on the ground and part of it, to, report back, to get the information out to people like us who all we can do is look through a screen as this genocide is being televised 24/7. The United Nations powerless to do anything. All of the nations condemning Israel, not being able to do a thing because the good old USA is still selling, arming these devils. So is the UK, so is Australia sending pathetic second-hand whatever. But the hundreds of millions of people around the globe, this is the awakening to the lies of the beast. And I'm looking forward to the time when they no longer exist, because the cancer of the earth has been cut out. So, that's all I wanted to say. Links in the description box. Just go. Outside of that, love, joy and laughter amongst our family and friends. Okay. Later, Kate.